We've all seen her, the woman who walks into a room and commands a unique kind of attention. It's not about her looks or her volume, it's a quiet, unshakable respect she receives from men. We're told it's a mystery, but it's not. It's a set of powerful, nonverbal signals she's sending. Most people only recognize the obvious ones, like confidence, but 99% miss the final, most counterintuitive signal I'm going to share. Missing it is the difference between temporary admiration and unwavering, lifelong respect. Internal kingdom. The first and most foundational signal that separates a respected woman from one who is merely liked is the undeniable presence of an internal kingdom. This is a psychological concept that describes a state of self-sovereignty. She is the undisputed ruler of her own emotional landscape, her time, and her sense of worth. Her happiness, stability, and validation are generated internally, not outsourced to others. This is incredibly rare. Most of us, whether we admit it or not, have a psychological operating system that is constantly looking for external input to feel okay. A text back, a compliment, an invitation. These are the data points we use to regulate our own self-esteem. A woman with an internal kingdom does not operate this way. Her sense of okayness is a baseline state that she cultivates herself. This isn't about being cold, aloof, or pretending not to care. It's the opposite. Because her core is secure, she can engage with the world with genuine warmth and openness, without the underlying anxiety of needing something back. A man's attention is a welcome addition to her life, not the central pillar holding it up. This sends an incredibly powerful signal to the male brain, which is wired on a primal level to assess dependency. When a woman's entire emotional state seems to hinge on his actions, it can trigger a subconscious feeling of pressure and responsibility that can easily curdle into resentment or a loss of respect. He feels like he's managing her, not partnering with her. Conversely, when he encounters a woman who is the calm, benevolent ruler of her own world, the dynamic shifts entirely. He is not meeting a subject in need of a king, he is meeting a fellow sovereign. The interaction is not about filling a void for her, but about a potential alliance between two complete functioning worlds. This is the bedrock of genuine high-level respect. It's the difference between a man feeling needed and a man feeling chosen. Being needed can be flattering for a while, but it's often a function of ego. Being chosen by someone who doesn't need you but wants you, someone who is already whole on her own, is a profound sign of her respect for you, which in turn earns his respect for her. You can sense this trait in her behavior. She has passions, hobbies, and friendships that she nurtures, which are entirely separate from her romantic life. She doesn't drop everything for a last-minute invitation, not as a power play, but because her time is already filled with a life she genuinely enjoys. She can enjoy his company immensely and then return to her own life with equal contentment. This energetic independence is magnetic. It signals that she is a source of value, not a seeker of it. A man will always, on a fundamental level, have more respect for a woman he sees as his equal in life, and that equality begins with the quiet, unshakable confidence of someone who has built her own kingdom and is perfectly happy ruling it with or without a visiting dignitary. Clear fences. The second crucial signal is the way she handles her boundaries. Many people mistake boundaries for high, impenetrable walls built to keep others out. But for the woman who commands respect, boundaries are not walls. They are clear, well-maintained fences with gates. The fences clearly mark where her property line is, her time, her energy, her emotional well-being. The gates are the designated entry points, showing others the respectful way to approach and engage with her. This distinction is everything. A wall signals fear and says, "Stay away from me." A fence with a gate signals self-respect and says, "This is me, and this is how you can respectfully be with me." This is so respected because it eliminates ambiguity and the human brain craves certainty. When a woman has weak or non-existent boundaries, the rules of engagement are constantly shifting. She might say yes when she means no, leading to resentment. She might tolerate behavior she dislikes, hoping the man will magically figure it out, which leads to passive aggression. This creates a dynamic of anxiety and confusion. The man is never quite sure where he stands, and he has to constantly guess what she wants or needs. This is exhausting, and over time, it erodes respect. He may not even consciously realize it, but he will start to see her as less reliable and less emotionally stable because her external actions are not aligned with her internal feelings. The woman with clear fences operates with a calm and kind clarity. She can say no to a request without a long apologetic explanation because she knows her no is a complete sentence. For example, instead of saying, "Oh, I don't know, I'm so sorry, I have this thing, maybe another time," she can say with warmth, "That sounds lovely, but I won't be able to make it." She states her needs directly, not as demands, but as information. "I'm not a big texter during the workday, but I love catching up in the evenings." This isn't a rule he has to follow. It's a user manual for how to have a successful relationship with her. She is teaching him how to treat her, and this act of teaching is a profound sign of self-respect. This skill is a superpower in conflict. When a boundary is crossed, she doesn't lash out in anger. Instead, she calmly points to the fence. "When you make jokes like that, it makes me feel uncomfortable. I'd appreciate it if you didn't." Notice the language. It's not an attack on his character. "You're such a jerk." It's a clear statement of her feelings and her needs. This de-escalates conflict while simultaneously reinforcing the boundary. A man can respect this immensely because it feels safe. He knows that if he makes a mistake, she will communicate it clearly and directly, rather than storing it away as ammunition for a future fight. He learns that her emotional territory is a safe but well-defined space. This consistency and clarity builds a foundation of trust and deep respect that is impossible to achieve when boundaries are blurry, resentful, and unspoken. Mind fire. Beyond the emotional and personal, there is a third critical arena where respect is won or lost: the intellectual space. The woman who earns deep respect is seen not just as a romantic partner, but as an intellectual partner. She possesses what I call mind fire. This isn't about having a genius-level IQ or dominating every conversation. It's about having a mind that is alive, curious, and engaged with the world in a way that is uniquely her own. She has her own thoughts, her own opinions, and her own passions, and she is not afraid to share them, even if they differ from his. So many people fall into the trap of agreeableness, believing that being liked is the same as being respected. They will nod along, mirror opinions, and suppress their own perspectives to create a sense of harmony. While this might feel good in the short term, it creates a relationship dynamic that is intellectually stagnant. The man may enjoy the lack of conflict, but on a subconscious level, he will begin to feel a lack of stimulation. He is not being challenged, he is not learning anything new, and the relationship is not expanding his world. Respect requires a degree of challenge. It requires seeing the other person as a separate, fascinating individual whose mind can sharpen your own. A woman with mind fire is not argumentative. She is curious. She can hold a different viewpoint without making it a personal attack. She can say, "That's a really interesting point. I've always seen it a different way," and then articulate her own perspective with confidence and clarity. This signals that she has done her own thinking. She isn't just regurgitating what she's heard, she has an internal world of ideas that is rich and self-sustaining. This is incredibly attractive and respect-inducing. It tells a man that he is with a woman of substance, someone who will keep him on his toes and make his life bigger, not smaller. This trait is also about having a passion for something, anything that is hers. It could be art history, urban gardening, astrophysics, or social justice. When she talks about it, her eyes light up. He can feel the genuine energy and enthusiasm. This is a powerful signal of a life being fully lived. It shows him that she has sources of joy and intellectual stimulation that are independent of him. She is not waiting for him to entertain her or to be the sole source of interesting conversation. She brings her own fire to the table. This dynamic is one of partnership between two equals, two explorers sharing their discoveries. He doesn't just love her, he respects her mind, and that is a much more durable and profound connection. Calm center, the fourth signal, is one of the most subtle and yet most powerful. It is the presence of a calm center. This is the ability to regulate her own emotional state, especially under pressure. It's the difference between being reactive and being responsive. Reactivity is an immediate, often unconscious emotional explosion. It's the knee-jerk anger, the instant tears, the sudden shutdown. It's driven by the primal emotional part of our brain, the amygdala. Responsiveness, on the other hand, is a conscious choice. It's the ability to feel a strong emotion, pause, process it, and then choose a thoughtful response. This is the work of the prefrontal cortex, the more evolved, rational part of our brain. A woman who consistently operates from this responsive place commands immense respect. Life is full of challenges, misunderstandings, and disappointments. In a relationship, these are guaranteed. A man, on a deep instinctual level, is assessing how a woman handles this emotional turbulence. If every minor issue, a late text, a forgotten promise, a change of plans, triggers a major emotional drama, he begins to see her as emotionally unstable. He starts to walk on eggshells, carefully managing his words and actions to avoid setting her off. This is the opposite of a safe harbor. It creates a feeling of dread and emotional exhaustion. While he might feel sympathy for her, respect becomes impossible. He cannot see her as a capable partner in navigating life's storms if she creates a storm in every puddle. The woman with a calm center is not a robot devoid of feelings. She feels anger, hurt, and disappointment just as deeply as anyone else. The difference is in her process. When she feels a powerful emotion, she doesn't immediately project it outward. She has the internal tools to self-soothe, to get curious about her feeling, and to communicate it from a place of centeredness. Instead of a reactive, "You always do this, I can't believe you forgot," she can pause, regulate herself, and then have a responsive conversation. "When you forgot we had plans, it made me feel unimportant and hurt. Can we talk about what happened?" The first is an accusation that guarantees a defensive reaction. The second is a statement of feeling that invites connection and problem solving. This emotional steadiness is the ultimate sign of maturity. It signals to a man that she is a safe place. He knows he can come to her with problems, both his and theirs, without fear of an explosion. He sees her as a true partner, someone who can handle life's inevitable difficulties with grace and strength. This doesn't mean she absorbs his problems or becomes his therapist. It means she can hold her own emotional ground, creating a stable platform upon which a healthy, resilient relationship can be built. This kind of emotional safety is incredibly rare and valuable, and it is a cornerstone of the deepest, most abiding respect a man can have for a woman. It's a respect born not of fear, but of profound admiration for her inner strength. Aligned life. We now arrive at the final and most crucial signal, the one that ties all the others together. It's the signal that most people miss because it's not about a single action, but about a consistent way of being. It's the quality of having an aligned life. This means there is an undeniable congruence between her values, her words, and her actions. She is who she says she is. What she believes in her heart, she speaks with her mouth, and she demonstrates with her behavior. This is the very definition of integrity, and it is the ultimate foundation for respect. Our brains are exquisitely tuned to detect incongruence. When someone says one thing but does another, it creates a feeling of dissonance and distrust in us. We may not even be able to pinpoint why, but we feel that something is off. For example, a woman who says she values honesty but tells little white lies, or someone who claims to be compassionate but engages in gossip, or someone who says she values her health but consistently neglects her well-being. These small misalignments are like tiny cracks in a foundation. Over time, they erode the structural integrity of her character in the eyes of others. It becomes impossible to fully trust her, and without trust, there can be no true respect. The woman who lives an aligned life is a beacon of reliability. Her actions are a predictable outcome of her stated values. If she says she values kindness, you see her treat the waiter with the same respect she treats her boss. If she says she values discipline, you see her consistently working toward her goals, even on days she doesn't feel like it. Her life is a living, breathing demonstration of her character. There is no mask. The person she is in public is the same person she is in private. This consistency is incredibly rare and deeply reassuring. It creates a profound sense of psychological safety for those around her. This is the signal that underpins all the others. Her internal kingdom is a reflection of her value of self-sovereignty. Her clear fences are an action that stems from her value of self-respect. Her mind fire is a result of her value of curiosity and growth. Her calm center comes from her value of emotional maturity. It all fits together. A man respects this woman on a soul-deep level because he sees that she is not playing a role. She is not performing a version of a high-value woman she read about online. She has done the incredibly difficult internal work to define her own values and then build a life that honors them. He respects her not because she is trying to earn his respect, but because she has so clearly earned her own. This kind of integrity is the rarest and most magnetic quality a human being can possess. In the end, the kind of woman who commands deep and lasting respect isn't playing a game or following a set of rules to win a prize. She has simply committed to a different game entirely. The internal game of building a life that is true to her own values. The respect she receives from men is not the goal. It is the natural, inevitable byproduct of the respect she has cultivated for herself. It is the world simply reflecting the truth of who she has decided to be. Be honest, which of these signals felt less like a strategy and more like coming home to yourself? Let's talk about it in the comments.